it, Cheese?
Yeah, I just don't see. I don't see
We're
the
gonna have
join.
a.
I don't see the join option.
Oh, you might just go out and come back in and go. Just make sure you're pressing the thing that says live.
Okay. All right.
But while I get him straight, because he's right here. Actually, he's already here live
And it
on the
says
other end.
watch live video. That's what I see.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And we have a. I'm gonna go ahead and wait for everybody to come on in.
I can see you.
Yep, you should be able to see where it says a little thing that says request to join. Little box.
Share video with others.
See it? Request to join.
Yeah, I just don't see requested going. I don't. Hmm. That's a zero joined.
Oh, look, Chuck is in the house.
Yeah,
We
just
got that.
yeah. So I just don't see requests to join. Let me come out one more time and try this.
Yeah. What's going on, Chuck? Long time, man. That's what's up. Yeah. Peace, everybody. I'm just gonna go ahead and start getting. Like I said, my man Cheese is just trying to get IG on the other end. We live in effect YouTube, Facebook, and etc. If you want to go hop over there, that's fine as well. Um, so another beautiful night. Hey y'all, I know y'all can hear me. This world doing some crazy stuff, isn't it? Oh Lord, what did we sign up for, family? What in the world? What contract did we do coming here? You know what I'm saying? At this time, because I tell you, man, these are strange times, but it's very interesting. A lot more interesting than just the normal wake up Groundhog's Day type stuff. Well, at least we got some. Let's take a look. You see it, Chief?
Yeah, just
Did you press where it said live?
yeah. Very interesting.
But anywho, like I was saying, man, all this stuff that we see in the news, supposedly aliens getting shot down. You're right. First off, like aliens will let us these idiot human beings shoot them down. You know what I'm saying? Good luck on that. Um, Train derailments. You know what I'm saying? Oh Lord, but that's right. This we ain't really gonna talk about much about that tonight. Maybe shoot, maybe we will.
Can you see
You
me,
know what I'm saying?
Zoe?
Uh,
I see everybody popping up. I just share live video with others. I see share video. That's it.
huh. And
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to do it on IG. I mean, it's pretty simple thing. Did you get it
yeah,
on live? We just trying to peace family.
yeah.
We just
On
trying to get
live.
cheese. You see it live?
Yeah, I see live, and I see
Uh huh.
who's watching, and then follow, and that's it. I don't see any
What? See
options.
see if you see any little dots that say like the few dots possibly. We get everything straight. We just so for y'all that just logged in, we're trying to get everything straight on the IG side because we're doing IG live and so yeah, just bear with us. In the meantime, let me go while he keeps on. Just if you got questions, you just ask me. I'm gonna go ahead and do my
Okay, no
spiel and
problem. No problem.
get it out the way. And if you haven't already, of course, Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. We're here to uplift humanity, but we are definitely here to help help reawaken the melanated, woolly head zombies that have been asleep for quite some time. But tonight I'm gonna start doing these episodes more often. All right, this is the melanated music episode. And the good brother here, Cheese, and y'all might have seen a couple weeks ago when I had Larry and T on here. Collectively, these are the guys that if it wasn't for them, there would be no Nebatomic and Amul Nine and Independent, all those bands that I played with. There really would not be those because these brothers influenced me very heavily. When I was back in Richmond, Cheese and T pretty much took me under the wing, and they were the ones that started getting me, to the reggae. They were the ones that would start to get me hard into reggae. They were the ones that would get me introduced to the Bad Brains, the Fishbones, you know what I'm saying, and Steel Pulses, all that stuff, man. And and that also so esoteric metaphysical information. We used to build on everything, man. We used to dabble with psychedelics, mushrooms, and you know what I'm saying, and like they introduced me to all that stuff. Let's see. Let's take a look. So you still can't get into you?
Yeah, it's. I can see you perfectly, but I don't see any request to join. That's,
Um, see if you can see if one of your if you're possible, see if your son might be able to fix it. Maybe the might be able to mess with it if possible. He might have a little more okay, 757. All right, well, you're gonna have to go ahead and DM me. She talking about I grow them. Okay. Which strand you talking about?
let me
757 juice.
see.
What strand do you grow? That's the question I'd like to know. What strand you grow? That's a question I'd like to know. Um,
I'm gonna hit. I'm
Anywho,
hitting
what you
copy
say?
link report.
She
I do
does.
not see it.
Um, let's see. Well, anyway, if you haven't already, please, we're gonna get Cheese in here. And like I said, if you okay, yeah. Go ahead and DM me. We're gonna talk. Um, if you haven't already, please go to polkadot rabbit podcast.com, and in my book, Bicultural Living and Leaving the World of Illusions. Um, a lot of people always like to ask, Zoe, man, how come your topic, your subject matter is so diverse? How come you have one day you talking about this, one day you're talking about one day you got Caucasians on, one time you talk Mexicans on, whatever the case may be. Hey, man, it's all in the book. It describes my journey so far in diversity and subject matter, and just I'm a student of life. You know what I'm saying? So if you haven't already, polkadot podcast.com, pick up Bicultural Living and Leaving the World of Illusions. Okay. All right. So any luck, Chief?
Um, Let me just tell you exactly what I'm seeing. All right, so I'm pressing live.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I see you.
Okay.
I don't see any option to join.
I don't know. Maybe I wonder if you have something. I don't know. Maybe you have some option issues like blocking it or something. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know, man.
All
But
right,
I don't
hold
know,
on.
y'all. If y'all are on IG Live, y'all can hop over to polkadot.rabbit podcast.com. I'm just going to let it. Hold on a second. Let's see. Some going on here. Uh, Wait a minute. Cheese, what are you logged in there? Merciful Zero or Cheeze Armwood?
Hold on. Maybe that's the whole deal. Hold on 1 second.
All right.
Let's do
So
that. All right, I'll be right back in a second. Let's get that straight.
yeah. But anywho, um, yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm saying, and I'm happy to see a shout out to Chuck. You know what I'm saying, some of the old heads and from the RVA in the house. A lot of history. You know what I'm saying, up in Richmond as far as me dealing with music and stuff. And like I was telling y'all earlier, my man Cheese has been very influential in my music and also just helping me grow up as a young man. So I gotta show love to my to my elders. You know what I'm saying? So, but
Almost there.
okay, wait a minute. But yeah, Chuck talk about extremely old. He shout out. Yeah, man. That Chuck, that's a cat back in the day. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You got I think we fixing it, everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody
we're
in IG
fixing it.
world.
We'll be there in a minute.
Yeah.
We're
But
on
in
our way.
in 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 the interim, you know what I'm saying? In the interim, let me go ahead and kind of talk about my man Cheese. He had a band. He's had um called Armwood, just like you see Cheese Armwood, and him and T. Um, this was back when I was playing in Richmond with the band Independent. Oh, there you go. You doing it, Cheese. There you go. See, now you do it. Now just it should be request to join now.
Okay.
Yep, you're probably under the wrong one. Y'all see that?
Share this.
Yeah, you join now, so you should be able to see the option request to join. But yeah. So you know what I'm saying, and you know yeah,
All right,
him
there we
and
go.
there you got it. Oh, see, you see that?
Yep.
Never give up. You see that?
Yep. Never give up. All right.
Never give up. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Let's see.
All
You
right.
got you pressed it. I'm just waiting for it on my end now.
Yeah. It says Cheese Armwood joined.
All right.
You see it?
Not yet. I'm still waiting for my it to
Okay.
show up on my end. No, no, no. No. You got to press request to join. It should be a little box with a little box. It looks like a camera with a plus sign on it.
Okay.
Yeah. All you gotta do is press that.
Yeah.
We getting there, folks. We getting there. We almost there. Y'all in the IG world. We gonna get y'all straight. You see the little box?
Anyone who can see that you're watching, no, there's no box.
Interesting. I don't know, folks. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what we're gonna some reason he can't get on. So if y'all want, I'm gonna keep this running anyway. All right. And what we'll do is if y'all want, y'all can just hop over to the Polka Dot Rabbit podcast on YouTube, or either go to YouTube, Polka Dot Rabbit podcast, or you can just go to Polka Dot Rabbit podcast on Facebook or Your Brozo on Facebook as well. So you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure what's happening with this IG, so we'll just keep it moving. All right. All right, Cheese.
Okay. It says I see Cheese Armwood joined. That's all.
Okay, well, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
We'll,
don't know.
we'll
I
keep
don't
it
know what's
moving. It's
going
all
on.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep on. I'll continue. Like I said, if y'all aren't able to see it on IG, y'all can just go to YouTube, polka.rabbitpodcast.com. We're streaming there live. Also, Facebook. Um, George has the Cheese has the link there on his Facebook page. So y'all can hop on over there. So anyway, we're done. We're not trying to no more. You
All
know what I'm saying?
right. Okay.
Some some ain't
Okay.
working right. All right. So 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 first off, we did all that. I explained who I am. Cheese, go ahead. Tell the people who you are, what you got going on. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look,
Please.
hey, I'm just a guy in Richmond, VA right now, man. I play guitar. My name is George C. Armwood Jr., the son of George C. Armwood Sr. Kind of, and I mentioned his name because that's kind of where I got the whole vibe to get into guitar, you know. But currently, I play in a band called Merciful Zero. And shameless plug, we have a video out now. Like and share. But yeah, man, I'm a guitar player in Richmond, and it's been a hell of a ride. And things are moving pretty good. And it's I'm trying to put all of the skills that I've learned over the years together to finally make this happen for real. If you get my drift,
Mm-hmm.
to make it something that I'm full time with.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, that's a hard nut to crack, you know. But that really is the gist of it, man. I'm an artist, and I'm an artist to the core, and spent, I guess a lot of years in Richmond, and that's why I went on and based here, because I'm like, being a boy from Farmville, it was the closest place to kind of to get that going, and I like the people here, I like the artists here, I like the musicians here, I like the the, uh, the 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 venues, and it was just a good place to base and make that move. So that's the gist of it today.
All right. All right. I'm just telling everybody to go ahead, and I'm just putting a link in there so they can just go over and go to YouTube and check it out there, considering we have the IG problem. So
Okay.
all right. All right. So you said, Cheese, that you said that you were an artist, right?
Yeah.
All right, but let me being an artist. you know what I'm saying? You have to kind of think outside the box. You know what I'm saying? You got to
Right,
think outside
right,
the box. You got to be, you got to do your own thing, so to speak.
right.
Um, what like could you kind of describe the history of that? Really like thinking outside the box and just being you as a person, an individual.
Yeah. Well, I have people that, fortunately, I mentioned my dad earlier, and it was a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
When I was little, I remember my father playing Parliament Funkadelic Maggot Brain.
Mm.
And dude,
One
I
of my
was like
favorites.
okay, I was like 2 or 3 years old. But at the time, it traumatized me, man. I mean, it was I don't know, it was the music, and the lady's head is in the ground, and then the skull is on the back of the album, and I remember my father making me listen to it because he thought there's no way this little boy was gonna be crying over music. And it's funny, years later, I was I guess I was around 12 years old. I don't know if you remember this record called by this group called Laid Back,
Mm-hmm.
White Horse. And I was playing White Horse, and it gets to this part where it says, "You got to be a bitch," right?
Mm.
And my dad comes in and breaks my record because he said that was vulgar. And so my mother looks at him and goes, "If you break his record, you better break that Parliament record." And so he goes downstairs and breaks one of his classic records, man,
Oh
because he
wow.
did that. Yeah, but that kind of, because he did that, it ended the trauma. And don't
Mm-hmm.
you know, from him playing all that Hendrix,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Parliament, and
Mm-hmm.
Grand Central Station,
Mm-hmm.
from him playing all that, it was a heavy influence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does that have to do with your question? The bottom line is, I'm Southern dude, man, Farmville,
Mm-hmm.
Virginia, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And nobody else was listening to that stuff, at least that I
Yeah.
knew. My father was
Mm-hmm.
a Vietnam vet, so he was, out there in Cali a lot. And he had like Joe Cocker and Jimi Hendrix and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
while everybody else was listening to the OJs. You
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
me?
yeah, yeah,
OJs
yeah.
and Whispers and
Mm-hmm.
Delphonics and all those old soul records.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so um, it that was the kind of eye opener for me that there's some different stuff out here. And man, it turned out that Maggot Brain record turned out being one of the biggest influences on me.
Yeah.
It's weird. And Hendrix especially, because that's what
Mm-hmm.
Pop played all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
talking about thinking outside the box. Well,
Mm-hmm.
from being from Farmville, the stigma,
Mm-hmm.
Southern
Country
Belt,
boy.
church boys,
Uh-huh.
straight iron pants, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
shiny
Mm-hmm.
shoes,
Mm-hmm.
and that type of thing was all I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful that it was,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
uh, but then you had my father who was kind of different too, and playing some
Mm-hmm.
different music, and so that was my first experience that, hey, there's a different world out there, you
Yeah.
know, and that we
Mm-hmm.
all, that all black folks wasn't just uh, uh, R&B, soul, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Southern Baptist for whatever,
Mm-hmm.
not, and that was my first eye opener. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that, yeah, that was my first experience thinking outside the box, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, when I got out of high school, I went to VCU.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Okay, there it was.
Mm-hmm.
So Richmond, like I said, the city of Richmond really just blew that out the water. The
Yeah.
people I met,
I can
and
see that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that, but that was the gist. If you're asking what the initial, my initial understanding that, hey, there's different ways of thinking. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And definitely a lot of people in Richmond influenced me with that.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, and it's interesting, man, because I hear these stories, even my stories, some are somewhat similar. And it's so interesting how when it comes at quote unquote like, black rockers, we all have semi similar stories, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just in that it really the basis is that what you're saying, just thinking about outside the box and just being um, being different than what you were what you're doing different that you're exposed to be supposed to be. Like
Right,
people just think you can play sports and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, you can do that, but you can still rock out too. Because I know that's how I was. You know what I'm saying? I
right,
still
right,
I'm still do like to do all that stuff. I still like to rock out, man. So
right, right, right.
you know what I'm saying? That's a all right. Now you talk about maggot brain, talk about Jimmy. So please tell me about the your black pioneering guitarists. Like some of the, who are the cats that like got you and you were just like, yo, I gotta play
Well,
guitar.
yeah. Oh man. Well, let me tell you. If you, the truth be told, what actually
Mm,
got me to get my first guitar, and actually
mm,
my grandma Isabel Brown, Grandma Izzy, Grandma actually purchased my first guitar. I was like, I guess I
okay.
was 14 to 15, 15. And
Mm-hmm.
truth be told, the reason I got that guitar, it's because I went to see Purple Rain. And when I saw
Yes.
Purple Rain and I saw Prince jump off, if you remember in the opening scene, he jumps
Yeah,
off
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
piano
yeah.
and hits that high
Uh-huh.
note,
Yeah.
man, I suddenly
Mm-hmm.
got it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? What I
Yeah.
understood was that music is an expression. That high note hit me, bro. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's when as a kid, I started out drawing and painting. I was painting, drawing dinosaurs, and
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
doing oil paintings probably, about 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But music, I finally understood the expression of art music, and that was when I
Mm,
saw Prince. So Prince would
mm,
would be at the top for me because of
mm-hmm.
that. Now,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
hit after that, that's when I started to study,
Yeah.
the guitar players. So you talking about pioneers? Oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start with the great Robert Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You talking about a brother that stepped outside the box.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
actually thought he went to the crossroads. He must have sold his soul to the devil
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
out
That's how
playing
bad
like
he
that,
was.
right? So Robert Johnson, man, Bo Diddley,
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Berry.
Mm-hmm.
I was learning those songs because I knew I had to get the roots down, And
Mm-hmm.
luckily, like I said, my father put me in a lot of directions with that. And Muddy Waters,
Mm,
BB.
mm.
Okay. Now the only reason I put that
Whew.
accent on BB is because BB King didn't even play rhythm guitar. He
Yeah.
just did leads and
He
sang.
just deleted the whole time.
And that's all he needed to do, bro.
Yeah.
One note, two notes,
Mm-hmm.
three, versus all
Mm-hmm.
the lightning players who were blistering and all that stuff. And that's
Yeah. Yeah.
so when you talk about pioneers,
Mm-hmm.
to me, they are the pioneers. I mean, that doesn't take away from the way I was raised. I was raised in the church, so I was listening to a lot of gospel players too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
listening to
Yeah.
a lot of soul players.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's something about that distortion pedal when I it's something about that edge, bro.
Well, I think we used to call it me, you, and T used to call it the rock gene. You got
Right,
it,
right,
the
right.
rock gene.
Yeah,
Some of us got the rock gene, and some of us don't. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? The
yeah,
rock
yeah,
gene.
yeah, man. Yeah, so that those are the just some of the pioneers, but they for me personally, and I think in essence are the true pioneers. And there's so many to name, but those are the ones that kind of hit me, bro. When I
Yeah,
listen to them,
yeah,
it's like something goes through me.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
they would be the pioneers.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So like so how was it like because I know y'all really hard. Y'all were heavy into like Bad Brains and Fishbone and the Spies and King's X. So how was that just like a kind of like a natural evolution of just you know everything rock is just far as like how did that how did you fall into liking them? You know what I'm saying? How was that
Well,
how did it evolve into that?
I tell you, man, I got into after VCU. Um, I went up north. As you know, I toured for a while with Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Right, and there's a link to
Mm,
the story.
that's right.
Um, I went to VCU and met a guy uh, named Kenny Snyder.
Mm,
So Kenny Snyder, this is my freshman year at VCU, introduced me to Fishbone.
mm,
Okay, so the rest is history. I had no idea. Yeah, I'm coming from Prince Edward, High School in Farmville, Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know about Fishbone in 1986 when I graduated high school.
Uh-huh.
I meet Kenny Snyder at VCU, and he introduced me to Fishbone,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what started it. Like me really wanting to get into that. So from that point on, it happened. But it wasn't until I went up north. The link to Kenny Snyder is that Kenny Snyder is Will Smith's cousin,
Mm.
and it was his first cousin. And I got to tell you this story if you don't mind.
Go ahead, man.
All
That's what we're
right,
here
yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah. Well, this all will link up. I know you hear all
Yeah,
this talk, but Kenny Snyder was, we're in the dorms and everything. He's like, yeah, that's my cousin, right? And so we're all going, whatever, man, that's not your cousin. And so, I think it was 87, 88. And it was the Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff, Public Enemy, and Run DMC on tour.
on tour.
And so they were coming to the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kenny's like, my cousin's coming to the Coliseum, and you're like, whatever. So, I went with him, and everybody's laughing at us and everything. And I went with him, and we get down to the box office, and they turn us away. They say, yeah, there's no Kenny Snyder, with a backstage pass or tickets, right? So he's like, no, it's got to be, So we end up going around. I don't know if you remember the back of the Coliseum. It's like a tunnel down there.
Yeah.
And we walk down there, and we walk down in the tunnel, and there's a cop down there, and he's like, yeah, do you have the list? He said, yeah, I have a list for backstage, and you're not on it. So by this point, I'm heated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
yeah.
What the world is going on, man? That's like, dude, you don't have to play like you like you Fresh Prince and all this stuff, right? So the cop was like, look, if you really know somebody or whatever, you can just stand there. So luckily he just let us wait. And lo and behold, man, this the hotel van from the Radisson. I think it was the Radisson back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
The hotel van pulls up, and I think it was JL Lassiter was the first one to get out the van.
Mm-hmm.
And JL says, he looks at Kenny and he goes, Kenny, what's happening, man? And so I'm like, oh, okay, And in the meantime, Roxanne, the real Roxanne, is walking by her, and Jam Master Jay, and it all started to become real. And then Jazzy Jeff gets out. His name is Jeff Towns.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Towns gets out of the van, and they're like, Kenny, what's going on? And then Will gets out, and it's hugs and what y'all doing, man? Come on, let's roll. So that's when the reality was, for me with music, period. We get on the road and I end up working for him, the story. But how that linked up is that whole clique was into some wild stuff too. And De La Soul had come out then.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of different types of music. But then that's when I got the wind of the Spies hanging out in New York. So Kenny had introduced me to Fishbone, and then just traveling around New York and buying tapes and stuff. He's like, yo, man, this band from Brooklyn, Spies. and that's when I knew, I was working for Jeff, I was doing hip hop production and stuff, and and stage tech and studio tech and all that stuff. But they knew I was a rocker right then.
Yeah.
I had my guitar with me, and it's like, yeah, this dude, I was a weirdo in Philly, man. It just, and I played in all of, I was doing open mic nights in the clubs up there. While I was up there, Will's dad actually used to take me to a lot of the blues clubs up there, and that's where I really learned a lot of chops, man. And that's where that came from. That's when I realized, oh, there's something else, man. It's cats like me out here.
Yeah.
And that this isn't some wild thing, some weird thing, and it got aggressive from there, dude. I was listening to metal and everything, it just kind of opened up.
Yeah.
And I realized that's what I was into. And then, that trekked all the way till the big split. I call it the big split, when Will went to LA, and not everybody chose to do that, and I was one of them. And speaking of those groups, when I get to Richmond, I land a gig with the good guys.
Mm.
Okay, so the good guys, Fishbone, you know what I mean, and the Spies, it, it was just who I am. I just
Yeah,
realized that's
yeah,
who I was, and that's where my life that's where everything changed, man. That's where the whole pattern just went kaboom. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I can see
There,
that.
yeah, there were different influences along the way, but that really was how it all came. How I made the decision, man. Yeah, I'm a rocker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
who I am, man. I don't mind doing beats and hip hop and all that stuff, but this is who I was, and that that
Yeah,
that sealed that.
yeah, I think that's it. I think that is real interesting because it even goes back to what you were saying earlier about thinking outside the box. You know what I mean, and just really realizing, even though you might have been different, you start to feel, you start to feel, you start to find out who you are, and you realize that you can't fit in any box. No
Yeah,
box that nobody, no boxes anybody could say, oh, he's a so and so. He said, no, man, I'm that and more, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm
right,
everything. You know what I'm saying?
right, right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh, you hit a point, and actually you are a part of that, man. Like the Richmond, coming from leaving Philly, coming back to Richmond, joining the good guys, uh, the out of box, the different, brother.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I was surrounded by them all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
The Gore brothers, you know, they're my brothers, man. Jimmy
Mm-hmm.
Gore, Chris Gore, Harry Gore, um, were fearless in that.
Mm-hmm.
They challenged. They were outside the box from the gate and
Yeah,
had
from the jump.
and a fierce approach to it,
Mm-hmm.
and would not be anything but themselves. So that
Mm-hmm.
helped my attitude on along.
Yeah, yeah.
And then meeting. There was a band I played with before I got with the Good Guys. It was called the Harlem Yacht Club,
Mm-hmm.
and I did a show in Twisters, and that's where I met Anthony Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
I call him Fred. I gave him that name.
Yeah.
and Fred, Anthony, he was outside of the box too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then I met Mark Easter,
Mm-hmm.
Bubby from out of New York. Uh,
Shout out to you,
and
Bubby.
yeah, shout out to Bubby, man. And these brothers, like I said, I'll be honest with you. So I was very concerned with what people thought of me,
Mm-hmm.
especially from Farmville, my
Yeah,
family,
yeah,
people
yeah. I
from
can see
home,
that.
and
Yeah, I can
yeah,
see that.
and so I would have, I remember when I got a mohawk, I had a mohawk with dreads in it, and
I
it was
remember that.
bleached blonde,
Yeah.
and I felt good being myself, but I was always like, is this me,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a blessing. It ended up being a blessing to get around those brothers because they were more fearless about being themselves and
Yeah.
liking what they like than I was. It's all in all honesty.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you came, and then you were in a hardcore band,
Mm-hmm.
and upon meeting you, like I said, man, I was surrounded by brothers who thought outside the box
Yeah.
and were fierce about it,
Mm-hmm.
confident about it, and it
Yeah.
finally grew. It finally grew.
It's interesting. I think well, I can't remember which I think it was one of the times when T was on here, but we were just talking about, see this, y'all gotta understand this is pre Afro punk. You know what I'm saying? So this is pre Afro punk. So these cats right here, you know what I'm saying? They now they can go to a whole festival designed, that's made specifically for melanated people and everybody else to come and listen to music, but it's specific niche. We didn't have that. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Yeah, we
right,
didn't have that. We just had to pretty much stick together when we went to, we went to shows, we went to thing. We just, we were the few brown kids, melanated kids in the show of a sea of white folks rocking out.
right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
That was
right.
our life, man, and
Yeah,
for a long time. You know what I'm
right,
saying? So
right.
So we were yeah, we were pioneers, man. We we led the way for all the rest of these cats when Afro punk came along, and that, it's still a beautiful thing, man. I ain't I'm happy that it went in that direction, and I had James
Oh
Spooner
yeah,
on
yeah, no
here.
question. Yeah,
I
no
had
question.
James Spooner on here, some time ago, right before his book came out, and
Right.
we were just talking about that, and it's a beautiful, that whole experience. Y'all understand how it is to be out ostracized almost, or look at like the black sheep, black people calling you sellouts and
Right.
Oreo. We listen to that white music, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but once you got your like Cheese was saying, once you find your clique and your tribe, I'm gonna say that. Once you find your tribe, man, you don't care what nobody says. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
it was from both sides. It
Yeah.
was from both sides. You would get it from the like I said, the brothers we grew up with, man. It was
Mhm.
they was some real cats, and
Mhm.
but yeah, but they most of them looked at you like, yeah, you on some meter
Yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And but on the flip side, the more I played rock shows, it would also come uh, in the shows where you go to the club and people would as soon as they see you, um, they would associate you with the bigger names that they've heard of. So they're screaming
Yeah,
Jimi
yeah,
Hendrix right
yeah,
away, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
went, okay, I got it.
yeah,
We're in a box again.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Even
that's true.
playing rock.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's a double whammy.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I see. Yeah, good
yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah, and it it's a hard nut to crack, man. I of course I was a super fan of Living Color,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah,
seeing
yeah.
what Vernon Reed had to go through.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
and those guys, but they persevered. They found a way
yeah.
they wrote songs that resonated to everyone, and
I
especially with
don't.
their head culture personality. So that was just a
Yeah,
slam hit, and it worked, But this is a hard nut to crack, man.
yeah. I don't think people realize how much literal abuse cats like Living Color, the Bad Brains, all that. That Fishbone, all these black bands who used to play all these different shows, man. Yo, they used to. I remember. I don't know if you were telling me this, Cheese,
Hmm.
but I remember just hearing somebody was just breaking it down how like people like, I think it was Living Color, like somebody, I heard this story, um, but like one dude, Vernon Reed just playing, and there was just one guy in the audience just spitting at him the whole show, just spitting at him. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then
That's what I know about. Yeah,
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 yeah. And then, I used to, when I was talking to Earl, Earl from Bad Brains, and he was just telling me some of his stories, man. And then, and how HR used to go ballistic when somebody called him nigger, man. He would, he'd want
yeah.
to, start cracking skulls, man. But these cats went through it, man.
Well,
And
that's what. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, no. That's what I'm talking about. Being out,
hmm,
stepping outside the box.
yeah,
That thing isn't hard, man.
yeah,
I mean, that thing wasn't easy.
easy,
That that
yeah.
that
That's true,
I mean,
man.
what you think Jesse Owens went through? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Jackie
Jack
Robinson,
Johnson,
yep.
yeah, Jack
Hmm.
Johnson, Jackie Robinson.
Yep.
This is a hard nut to crack, man.
Hmm.
And the thing to remember, and I say this to all cats, especially my black rock cats, man. Just remember the originators, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to set yourself. No, you're really not different. You're being who they were, you
Yeah.
know. But
Hmm.
you're being who Bo Diddley and Chuck Berry were.
Hmm.
So if you're a part of that, don't think of yourself as doing something different. You're doing
Yeah.
what you originally were
Hmm.
doing years ago.
Yeah.
And you know how that goes, man. You have to carry yourself that way,
Yeah.
as if you belong. You
Hmm.
have to have that in your aura, in your presence.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm doing that. I hope
Yeah.
people see me as a guitar player,
Hmm.
and not look and say, hey, there's that black guitar player.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I'm a guitar player. You understand? And I have no
Hmm.
reason to feel that I'm any different, especially when the as we say, the pioneers were some bad brothers.
Yeah. Exactly.
You
Exactly,
know what I
man.
mean?
Exactly.
You know who I think did that the best? I think Jimi Hendrix exuded that the
Oh
best.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
hope, and I would never, I don't even play with that idea that I'm anything close to a Jimi Hendrix. but I do what I do, and I hope people accept that. And I
Mm-hmm.
just do what I do,
Mm-hmm.
and it is an art form, and if you dig it, you dig it,
Yeah,
and if you
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
you don't, and that's okay.
And like I was saying earlier, so this has all everything when it deals with melanated music. This whole show, it has different layers. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? Different
mhm,
dimensions, even so. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Um, and see, one of the things about when I met Cheese, this is right when I was really just starting to read all the stuff. And I I remember Cheese. I I had all these books from Dr. York, right? You know, the scrolls back in the day.
mhm,
And
mhm.
Cheese was like, man, you got to hear Rabboni Yeshua. And I was just like, really? I want to hear him. You got to hear Rabboni Yeshua, man. And I was just like, who's Rabboni Yeshua? But come to find out that Rabboni Yeshua was just one of the names that Dr. York had. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah, it's
So
around the clock, yeah.
yeah, so what we at that was a time this had to be what the mid 90s, right? Right about
Yeah,
that time,
yeah,
mid to
man,
late
yeah, it
90s.
was, yeah.
And that's why I was heavy with the information. I just read a scroll, go
You're a
back and just
sponge. Yeah,
man. Yeah, you remember,
yeah,
you know. So I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I'll go to the classes up, man. That's when I was like information junkie. But see, that's the thing, man. We Cheese and I specifically, Cheese and I, you know what I'm saying? Joseph too. But Cheese and I really would get because he was older, he had more experience, he had other people kind of grooming him. We would talk deep and heavy about that type of information and stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? It's different. Like I said, it's different layers and dimensions, all that. So let me say this. Let me ask you this question. Since we're going that way, so tell me about like black religion. What you think. And your own personal awakening. Yeah, break that down.
Well, you mentioned a heavy name at the top of
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
when you were just talking, and with one of the main guys I look up to and talking about being outside that box, and that's
Hmm.
Joseph Lowe.
Oh yeah,
Now,
Joseph.
now that brother, which was going to come up, so I'm glad you kind of set that up, and here's
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
has
yeah,
to do
yeah.
with that. Um, all of those guys I mentioned before, Anthony Gregory, Mark Easter, um, uh, it was the whole, the whole crew, man.
Hmm.
Greg Crawford,
Chuck is in the house. You got Chuck in
Chuck
the house.
Crawford. It was a. Oh, and oh my God, man, Chuck is an explosion of ideas, man. That's my brother, man. I love that cat, man. But look, that was a little breakfast club brotherhood.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And
Straight up.
everybody was on some kind of cutting edge. And when I met Joseph, uh, his aura alone is what kind of at that age
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
made
yeah.
me understand like, man, you could shake someone's hand
Hmm.
and get a gut feeling about how pure their soul is, or how wise
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that soul is, or just
Hmm.
how humble a
Huh,
person can
yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And that resonated to me, man. And I had I'm blessed with coming up with at that time,
Hmm.
with a group of brothers like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, when it comes to the religious aspect of it, man,
Hmm.
you hitting it, because see, I was raised uh, in the church.
Yeah,
I went to Chilwell Baptist Church, with the Rocky Mount Baptist Church. A lot, this is my childhood stuff, man. It was beautiful,
yeah,
because I
yeah,
and I and I understood the from that, what I got out of it was the fellowship,
yeah,
right, of
yeah,
church,
yeah,
and I understood that. But okay, when I got about 17,
yeah,
going up to in my 20s, when you met me and stuff like that, there were a lot of I was one of those questioners. I
yeah,
was one of those
yeah,
ones that the Sunday school teacher would tell people, "Hush
yeah,
your mouth." And I would talk to my pastor after church, and ask him questions, and sometimes he would just shake his head and go, "Boy, what the world who's been in your head?" And it nobody. I started to read the Bible,
yeah.
and so when people say, well, how did you get all these thoughts? I was like, no, I actually read this Bible,
Hmm.
right? I read
Hmm.
it. And the more I read it, the more questions I had, and that was the beginning.
Yeah.
So, when I speak, and I still have the greatest respect for my church going folks.
Mm-hmm.
I I I come from that, right? So,
Yeah.
I get I saw beauty in it, but I saw a lot of tragedy in it too. And I saw a lot
Mm-hmm.
of disappointments in it from
Yeah.
people, from different pastors, from some nasty stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah.
That began my quest.
Yeah.
I started to travel. I started to listen more and learn more.
Mm-hmm.
When I remember the time I went to my pastor after church. I was like, I read I read Genesis. I said, I'm just starting on the first book in the Bible, and I'm already having problems. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, it said Cain killed Abel, right? Right? And he kills Abel, and then he goes and has a wife, and that was my first problem.
Yeah.
And I understand the words, and people have all kinds of ideas, and they would always come up with, well, that just
Mm-hmm.
means this, or that just means that. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, no,
She
no,
was a
no. Look,
metaphor. She was a
let's just look at the
metaphorical
word.
lady.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, well, there was, where did this person come from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the nature of Genesis itself, started to really give me problems. That's where I really started to question things. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't say anything against the Bible. There's a lot of things to understand about the Bible. There's a lot of wisdom about the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And I only speak of that in religion because that's what I'm associated with, right?
Yeah.
But that began the quest to learn other stuff, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I traveled.
Yeah.
I traveled. I I moved around, and music helped me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And learned a lot. And I learned
Mm-hmm.
so much, right? That after all these gray hairs popped up on my beard, I realized I don't know much.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I met a Muslim brother named um, Muhammad
Mm-hmm.
Abdul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Abdul Muhammad, and he never persuaded me to become Muslim or anything like that. He just was a wise brother,
Mm-hmm.
and God bless him. He was killed a long time ago, but he gave me a lot to understand about life. Period, and he
Mm-hmm.
was a very deep brother, and he left me with this. And this is actually how we met. Um, I walked into a store with snow all over the ground. There was no place to go. I couldn't get into my apartment. I was locked out and had to wait for my roommate to get back. And I went into the store. It was a mini mart over there on San Sushi. I don't know if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
But he was working there, and I was kind of down and out about my quest with religion and understanding religion. And he had this book on his at the desk. Said the name of the book was "So You Don't Know Anything." And he looked at me. He said, "Brother, you look like you puzzled about something." And it was crazy because he said it was nothing wrong with not knowing,
Mm-hmm.
because that makes you become a sponge and you're able to take in more knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I respect and appreciate anybody that says they know something or they got it,
Yeah.
got all the answers. Good for you. I do not.
Yeah.
I choose to be that sponge and learn, and I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
walk with the knowledge that I walk with, and so I respect people's walks and I respect people's religion. I just um, I'm a seeker, and that's my plight with that.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
that's wisdom in itself. Just that statement alone. And once you get to that once you get to that level, that's when I mean, that's wisdom. Everything is a package. Wisdom, humility. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm, mhm,
Suppressing the
mhm,
pride, the ego. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to be a
mhm.
good person. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right,
like
right,
people people are on this planet their whole lives and they don't even look at those simple things of just while we're here just to become a better person and look
right,
at this place as a school. It takes
right,
people
right.
takes people, a couple trips here to this globe before they can even, even fathom that being a reason why we're here. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
That's, you
exactly.
know what I'm saying? And, just,
Sound like you picked up that wisdom, brother.
hey man, I had good teachers like you, man. You know what I'm saying?
All
I
right.
listen. I listen. That's one of the things I learned a long time ago, man. Just shut up and listen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Shut
It
up and
takes that.
listen,
Yeah, it
man.
takes that
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah,
You
that's
know
how
what
you
I'm saying?
exchange ideas. That's right. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
And and okay, that's that. Okay, so it, this a this is kind of like a two-part question. All right, somewhat, because
Hmm.
I remember you said you were that you were a painter. The,
Hmm.
how did you go from being a painter to music, but also how did you once you got to playing music, how did you see it as an art form in itself? And yeah, that's the question.
Well, man, I tell you, I don't know. Honestly, when I was little, I remember just having this thing for drawing, and I was drawing all the time. I was always drawing stuff, and I had this. I was so fascinated with dinosaurs. My mother used to get these dinosaur books all the time, and that's really where it kicked off. I was just drawing what I saw, but what people noticed was that those drawings were like dead on. At an early age, and I was shading and doing that stuff. And the crazy thing, my son is doing that same thing now. It's crazy. My sons are both, one's a sculptor, one's a painter. So I guess it just runs in the line, man. But
Yeah.
that was where my parents took notice, and people at school took notice, and teachers took
Mhm.
notice in my love for art. So that was early on. Um, I really equated to serious sensitivity, man. I
Mhm.
was very sensitive to everything, things that I was
Mm.
learning, sensitive to music in the church,
Mhm.
sensitive to just sensitive to music. Period.
Mhm.
I was sensitive to paintings at an early age.
Mhm.
I was into Picasso and surrealist artists like Georgia O'Keeffe.
Mhm.
And this is at a very early age. So
Mhm.
I really attribute that to being extra sensitive, man. I mean, music
Mhm.
could make me tear up as a child,
Yeah.
um, or it can make me fear. Like
Yeah.
Maggot Brain did. I was scared. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
terrified of it when I was young,
Mhm.
and I was very sensitive. Uh, and I, over the years, what I started to do was to learn to tame that, being so sensitive about stuff. And the way that, so I got deeper into the art. But by the time music came along, like I told you that story earlier about Purple Rain, the movie Purple Rain, I literally, I'm not joking, when I heard that note, that's when I realized how you can express yourself through music. At
Mhm.
first, the paintings were doing that. I could draw, I could just draw stuff right off the top of my head,
Mhm.
and or just some kind of I was really into surrealism, and so I would do a lot of fantasy drawings and stuff and paintings. But music, what an extension. You
Mhm.
know, I didn't realize you could express yourself that way, and I didn't realize how until I learned how to perform it. Right, I
Mhm.
knew how it felt when I heard it. I got that part of it. I knew how it made me emotional, or made me want to just jump up and dance or whatever. But when you learn to perform it, and you realize you can affect people that way,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. It's
that's
not
a
a feeling like that in the world, man.
hey man, I felt it in the church. How folks. I don't even know if they still do it, but they used to get happy in church, bro. And
Mhm.
music would get to them, and I would see,
Mhm.
I
They
would
start
see those
moving,
old,
boy.
I would see them ladies, man, them old ladies, get up and jumping up and down the aisle on the floor. I was like, and I used to be like, what in the world? But don't you know? Or we play, they would play something sad in a funeral and make you drop a tear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But what I realized when I started getting the fishbone and all this hardcore and everything,
Mhm.
I realized it was the same thing.
Yeah.
When I went to my first fishbone concert,
Mm-hmm.
Angelo, the lead singer that we know and love,
Mm-hmm.
literally, when the music started, people were slamming against each other. They call us
Mm-hmm.
moshing, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea what I was getting into. As a matter of fact, when Angelo he jumped off of the monitor and kicked me in the head, and I broke my glasses on the monitor. I was up front and soared all the way to like the middle of the audience, dude. I mean, it had to
Mm-hmm.
be out, like 10 feet or something. And he
Mm-hmm.
was just swimming on top of the audience. My point is that I realized that from the church, right? The Baptist gospel, they call them holy rollers, to the mosh pit, man.
Yeah.
Music was getting into people. It was
Mm-hmm.
making them express themselves. It was
Mm-hmm.
making them emotional. It was
Yeah.
making them seem release anger. And
Mm-hmm.
when I got that and started to write music, and people
Mm-hmm.
had a response to it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still, yeah, I still, use art. I still create artistically as far as drawing, uh, graphic design, and things like that. So I still do multimedia stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but music has taken the forefront because of
Mm-hmm.
the way you're able to communicate with people through music, uh,
Yeah.
the way you can evoke the emotion, uh, uh, or make move a person to tears or whatever. That's a
Mm-hmm.
release for people,
Yeah.
and I'm addicted, man. I'm straight
Mm-hmm.
up. I'm addicted to that feel. Every time I get on stage now, it is I'm releasing something, and they're picking it up, and then they
Mm-hmm.
release something, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It's the most beautiful
Yeah.
thing I've ever
A
felt in my
beautiful
life.
exchange. Yeah. I still remember the first time, like as an artist, I still remember the first time I was performing, back in independent days. I'm
Mhm.
sitting on stage and people started mouthing my lyrics. I was just like, yo, they know what I'm saying.
Isn't that crazy?
You know,
There's no feeling like it.
I was like, what, what is, what's that? What?
Yeah, man. There's no.
And it is, and even like you say, as an MC, and like once you really put a lot of energy into these lyrics and all this stuff, and people come up to you and they say, "Yo, I get it." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like the
Yes.
best feeling in the world, man.
Oh, there's no feeling
And
like it. There's no
yeah,
feeling like
and
it.
it was interesting because I tell people all the time, like three of my biggest influential um MCs, believe it or not, what I'm saying? I'm gonna call them all MCs. It's Chuck D, Bob Marley, and Bono. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And people sometimes they be like, "How do you put Bono in there?" Man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I saw that Joker perform. I went with Dink.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, we went with
Dave
Dink. We
Weekreel.
went to DC.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it was like, well, I think it was right when Octone Baby come out. And when he got on stage and he transformed into this, he used to dress up with makeup and like he
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
what he called a manifesto, I think it was his
Okay,
name, what I'm saying,
okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
But when I saw him do that, plus I love the old lyrics that he had and stuff, but when I physically saw him really switch and change into someone else when they're on stage, I was like, "Oh," and a light bulb went on. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
when you're on stage, you're a musician. You're an
Yes.
artist." You know what I'm saying? And
Yes. Yes.
that's why I say that. But like when I heard Bob Marley, you know what I'm saying? Even Chuck D,
Uh-huh.
but when I heard Bob Marley in the way that his words, you know what I'm saying? Just the words alone, man, how powerful they were. Oh, I was hooked. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, I gotta do that. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, it's spiritual. This is
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is where my
Mhm.
spirituality exists.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's awesome that you mentioned those influences.
Mhm.
I consider myself with guitar literally a disciple of Bad Brains and Dr.
Mm.
No.
Yeah.
I
The doc.
consider myself also that with Adam Jones from Tool,
Yeah. Mhm.
um, and Jimi Hendrix, of course,
Mhm.
because of
Mhm.
the feel and emotion that he could bring forth.
Mhm.
And so somewhere I hope I'm coming through all that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
yeah, 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 yeah.
a,
Well,
a little bit of me.
I'm gonna say
uh,
this. I'm gonna say
yeah,
this, and you know me, I don't, I ain't playing. Um, Still to this day, you know, you and T have been easily some of the two best musicians I've ever played with. You know what I'm saying?
man. Thank you so
And
much, man. Yeah,
yeah, and
thank you
I've
so
been
much, man.
around. When I was in London, I was playing with people. I've been around, but especially the thing I really liked about you and your evolution as a guitar player, and even T, once y'all really started getting y'all equipment on point, with your pedals and everything, and y'all,
Yeah, yeah,
because like, man, I'm gonna tell you, man, I saw Living Color one time. I looked at Vernon Reed's rig. I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
is he trying to go to the moon? Like what? What in what in the world is that rig, man? I mean, he
yeah,
could
yeah,
have,
yeah.
I'm just so, but just it's always good to see people keep on going to the next level when it comes to music. And both you and T, like I said, y'all easily two of the best musicians I've played with, but not only just, but also knowledgeable. You know what I'm saying? When you're able to sit down, man, as musicians and sit around and just vibe off of each other. Like, no, man, try this. You remember and go, go back. Well, you remember how so and so, how Norwood did it on so and so song.
Right, right,
So you know what
right.
I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Just that type of vibe, and just having that jukebox and that history. I mean, that memory and just that jukebox, a mental jukebox. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to just really be around musicians like that, man.
Oh
People,
man,
if
thank
you
you
ain't
so
a
much,
musician,
man.
you don't understand. But if you're a musician, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I know I know T is gushing over that right now.
Yeah, yeah,
With
yeah.
that hell of a compliment, man. Thank you so much, man.
Oh yeah, easy. I ain't playing,
That
man. Yeah,
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 no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
that's something, and even in mentioning him again, like I say, he was fierce, um, fierce about being himself,
Hmm.
and liking what he likes. Like I said, I got a lot of that from you guys, man, and I finally, don't you know, it really was. You still there?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really was. Can you believe it? In my 50s, when I really let it all go, bro, and I accepted me for me.
Bro,
50s, 50s, man.
age ain't nothing but a number, man.
Yeah, but
You know
let
what
me
I'm
tell you
saying?
something. Here's what I'm impressed with. Like I said, with the brothers I was with, it looked
Hmm.
like you guys had that you had that together much earlier. It took me all these years to finally say, man, I'm not perfect, but I'm gonna be myself. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
hurt anybody. I'm not gonna do anything to anybody. But
Hmm.
I had to have the confidence to be myself. And lo and
Yeah.
behold, that's when things started to happen. That's when
Yeah.
things started to materialize. You have to.
Hmm.
I tell anybody, you have to. I've been saying this for the last couple of years. Until I meet somebody that's willing to get in the casket with me, man, when I die, I'm gonna be me.
Hmm.
Why would I live someone else's life? Why would I live someone else's dreams? Or live with someone else's desires? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so it took a lot of years, man. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
do
Hey,
this
man.
until it's over, bro. And not
Yeah,
to be
man.
not to be fatalistic or anything. I think it's a beautiful thing to me. Uh, as long as I can be with my family and
Hmm.
provide for my family, because that's first and foremost. Why
Hmm.
not? Why not?
Yeah, yeah, of
Why
course.
wouldn't I do that?
It's a part of you, man. It's the same
Yeah,
thing, I know I took my little hiatus, but like, like we were talking earlier, man, I'm getting back at it, but I just had to, just like you're saying, you really gotta, you just can't be doing it just to do it. You know what I'm saying?
right,
You gotta do it when it makes sense. You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
And
right.
and you got to do it the right way. So it's I miss the stage, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But I miss writing. I miss the camaraderie of just writing, playing music together. That's why we get back at it, man. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
look, just you saying that, I don't foresee that'll be long before you back at it again.
Hey, I already told you I'm snatching you. I'm snatching you with me, man.
All
So
right, brother.
look, you what do you say? Yeah, you could be like Deion Sanders. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right, right, yeah.
play for the
A
Yankees
man
over
of
here
many,
one day,
yeah.
and then play play for the Braves the next day. So
Hey
I'm
man,
gonna.
but look, dude, I'm gonna tell you something. There's a lot of cats that do that too. I haven't been the best at that, like playing a lot of different projects.
Mhm.
I'm better with that one, like kind of down the pipe thing. But these cats today, man, playing like 4 and 5 bands.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's something, man. It's amazing. Um,
Mhm.
but like I said, to be doing this at this age, um, it's even more rewarding, and it is not. This is not work. I mean,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
lift equipment when we hit the road. We're tired. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Having to remember all those songs, it's rough, and it's paradise at the
Yeah,
same
yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah. Oh yeah,
This is
yeah,
not.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah,
not.
yeah.
This is not work, and this is what I'm going to do
Man,
the rest of my days.
I remember us with what I guess it was a Moon 9, man, when we were hitting the road,
Hmm.
and just, the feeling of just knowing you going somewhere just to perform.
Right, right,
You know what I
right.
mean? And a
Yeah,
new place, meet new people, and just man, that's man, nothing like it,
it's
and
nothing like it's
on
nothing like it.
nothing like it, man.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm
The
saying? And
musicians
then
know. All the musicians,
yeah, all the
tuners in
musicians
there.
know.
They
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
it is, and it's sometimes it's
yeah.
hard. Um, as a matter of fact, sometimes I envy people
Mm-hmm.
who take the usual path in life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's a beautiful thing if you can work your job and you do your 9 to 5, you clock in, clock out. Go out
Mm-hmm.
on the weekends, go to church
Mm-hmm.
on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I admire that so much. I
Mm-hmm.
I just I just personally uh, was not good at it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
do
yeah,
something
yeah,
on my
yeah.
own.
Something. Yeah.
I had to work my hours. I
Mm-hmm.
had to create a job to do. I had to make my
Mm-hmm.
own business
Mm-hmm.
and do that hustle. And I dared to
Well, I
dream, man.
mean,
I dared to dream, and
that that along
I'm
goes
glad I
with
do.
that along goes with, like you said from the beginning, outside the box, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
even take it to another level, another dimensions, but outside the matrix. You know what I'm saying? And you know what
right,
I'm saying? Outside of the
right,
matrix, man. You know what I'm saying? Because what you
right.
just
Yeah, it
described.
really is like the
Yeah,
right,
because what you
right,
just
right.
described,
Yeah,
everything you just described is the atypical, you know, I was gonna say person, but American Americans seem like they only ones that do what you just described. You in
right,
Europe and other
right, right,
places they don't do that.
right,
And if
right.
you don't
It's a
travel,
different
you
way of
don't.
thinking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If
Yeah,
you
you
don't
won't know.
travel and seen different places,
Right,
you'll be like, what's he talking about? Nah, man, not everybody do what
yeah,
Americans do. You know what I'm saying? Their mindset in a lot of these places around the
right,
planet, it's completely different. They ain't trying to work no
right,
40 hours a week. Ain't no way in the world. But that's a different conversation. But you
right,
know,
right.
yeah, man, just thinking outside the box and like you said, being yourself and being happy, being yourself, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta, do what makes y'all happy, man. You know what I'm saying? Do what makes
Yeah,
y'all happy.
yeah. Well,
You
look
know
at the
what I'm
people
saying?
that did, man. There are people that dared to be
Mhm.
to dress different, to look
Mhm.
different.
Mhm.
I mean, and talk about the challenges that go with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even for Jimi Hendrix, James
Mhm.
Brown, Little
Yeah. Yeah.
Richard.
Yeah. 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 I
You
know.
know what
I
I mean?
know. I know. Right. You
Like,
know what I'm
like,
saying?
you talk about thinking outside the box.
Yeah,
That
man.
was, that was unheard of. Sidney Poitier.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So somebody had to say, hey,
Mhm.
we don't have to be the
Yeah.
status quo of what
Mhm.
society is saying you have to be at that
Yeah.
time or at
Yep.
this time. And I live by that, and it is not
Mhm.
easy, but it
Mhm.
is rewarding,
Mhm.
and hopefully I walk with enough of that in me to
Mhm.
for somebody else to understand themselves, because it can be
Yeah.
depressing. This is a lonely walk, bro. You know that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
because you can have, and it can be friends and family
Yep.
that don't feel what you doing. But at the end
Mhm.
of the day, you got to be you. You
Mhm.
have to be you, and you have to be
Yep.
happy with you. That is
Yep.
not a selfish thing. Yeah, how
Mm-mm.
can you make others happy or feel or make the people around you happy if you're not happy
If
with
you're not happy
yourself?
yourself, yeah.
How can you be good for them? How can That's a
Hmm.
miserable existence to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
to not be happy with who you are
hmm,
and be around people.
yeah.
What is
That's
that?
true, man.
You
It's
know?
true. Yeah, 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 yeah. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And and people, man. Unfortunately, people. People they give up, man. And they a lot of people give up on life because they don't because they just haven't found that out right there. You know what I mean?
Right.
They just give
Right.
out. You know what I mean? They and it happens all the time, man. It's a sad thing, man. Um, just not having a lot of potential and not even really being in the game of life. You know what I mean? Not even
Right.
being able to experience the game of life when you knee deep in it. You know what I mean? But of course that's a whole different conversation. But
Right. Right.
everything you were talking about the 9 to 5 that also grooms people. It sets people up for disappointment, all the things because all the stigmas, all the isms and skibbins you got to deal with, and all and trying to fit inside a box. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Right.
It's a just be like you said, be yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
be
No
yourself,
question,
man.
man.
Yeah, because you know,
I and now that I really live with that, yeah. Now that I really live with that, I can honestly say, for each person's path, that is the way to some type of happiness on this crazy planet.
yep, yep, I agree. Yep, it's a safe haven, man. It's a security blanket. It's your sanity.
Got your back.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, man. Okay. I'm gonna tell you, man. This is one of my. This is have to be, especially on this music tip. I know it's a little biased because you're my homeboy and you my we go back all this. I gotta be a little biased, but just you know, we got to keep on having more conversations like this because a lot of people don't know the history of us. And that's why I'm doing this melanated music, man, because we got to keep showing these people the different, like I said, the different dimensions and levels of all this, man. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
It's.
I'm so look. I wanted to tell you, man. I'm so
Mm-hmm,
proud of what you're doing.
mm-hmm,
This is outstanding. It's an outstanding forum, and I love the forum. And you just keep doing what you're doing, man. This is a blessing to a lot of people. So
yeah.
I hope you keep this up, even if you get back on stage, brother. Keep this going because we need the to keep those conversations going, man.
Yeah,
I'm really happy for you with this. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to tell you that.
I appreciate that, man. And I've told people all the time if they watch the show, I don't know why something just told me to start doing this, but I was doing it kind of as fun, but what happened is once you start to realize, just like the music thing, once you really start to realize the impact that it has, I just keep on taking it serious, man, because you got people out there and I hear, people out there, they need to have these conversations for their own sanity.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They they
Hmm.
they need to have this conversation for because they don't um you know somebody said they tell Chuck said talk about the band. We're
Yeah.
gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Chuck, old rude old Chuck.
That's my dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's my
no, but
dude.
but yeah, man, people need to, especially these young cats, man. Just find out there's a niche for you. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
not that bad. Your folks, your tribe is out there. The
Right.
Rock Gene tribe, they out there, and they gonna find you. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm about to say shout out to James Spooner for setting up Afro Punk, and even my man Vaughn in Atlanta for doing setting up Punk Black, man, because they got a you got these these refuge now that these refuge now that refuge refuge refuges that now that people can go to, you know what I'm saying, and really
Right.
look for their found their tribe mates and people that can relate. So go
Yeah.
ahead, man. Anybody telling you plug your show, good gracious, they're gonna
Yeah.
crack the internet in
Well,
half.
they must have missed the top of the hour
Oh
where
yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
kicked
That
it
that
off
that
with it.
that,
But yeah,
that wasn't good enough.
yeah. Well, look, I'm with a seriously talented group of people. Um, definitely got to start off with Mark Miley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out Mark.
so yeah, so when I left Philly, uh, from Jeff Towns, who Jazzy DJ Jazzy Jeff, who really taught me a lot about production. Right, that chapter went right to Richmond with Mark Miley at Glass Hand.
Yeah.
And so he's between Jazzy Jeff and Mark Miley. They're both mentors of mine, and
Yeah.
I've learned a
I can
lot
see that.
about sound and production from both of them. And
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to be in a band with Mark Miley playing drums.
Mhm.
Um, and and then BK Brian Knight, who plays bass. I've known him for years. He actually sat in for Armwood a couple of times back in the day. And so he kind of knew the vibe, and that he's playing bass with me, so that was cool. And then Hannah Green is the newest addition to this Hans. They just bring a whole different, just a whole different feel to the music. I've been had the pleasure of sharing writing with, and it's got a little hardcore. It's a jam. You know what I mean? It's a jam.
Mhm.
It's kind of hardcore.
It's good
And
stuff, man.
yeah,
It is.
I
It's good
appreciate
stuff.
it, brother. And
Yeah.
if if you get anybody out there, if you get a chance to check it out, you can check us out on Facebook, Merciful Zero on FB and IG, and we also have a website, mercifulzero.com, and we also Merciful Zero Bandcamp. So those are the main formats. We have a CD, an album out now, and a video that we just posted on Monday, the 13th. So if you get a chance to check the video out, so this is my plug, right? Merciful Zero, check out the video. The single is a show, and I'm having a blast jamming with these guys, man. It's built all the way up to this from Three Fifths Compromise, with
Mhm.
Joseph and T,
Mhm.
and all the way, Harlem Yacht Club with Bubby.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, from me playing bass with the good guys, so shout out to Jimmy, Harry, Chris. Uh, it's all come to this right now, and it's awesome ride, man. And I hope it bring some type of emotion out you when you hear it. It's a
Mhm.
good jam, man. So we've been having fun, and tours are starting to build up.
Yeah,
And
man.
oh, and
I
shout
got.
out
I got.
to Amelia, my manager, man. Yeah, we even have a manager, bro.
Oh man, y'all big
And
time.
Amelia, yeah, Amelia ain't no joke, man.
You mean
But we,
you mean if I come to the show, I might be able to get in free? Is that what you're telling me?
yeah, you don't have to pay, bro. Of course not. You'll never pay.
Okay, whoa,
We
man,
brotherhood.
y'all big time.
We
Woohoo!
brotherhood.
Yeah, yeah, man. No,
Yeah,
it's funny you talk about Mark, man, because I'm gonna tell you something, man. I remember them old days, man. Back at the old down at the near the train tracks down there off of I don't even know what you want to call that place, man. What was that? The one that got flooded out where we used to go to all the time down was that was that Glass Hand? You know,
yeah,
down where we
yeah.
that was
Glass.
Glass Hand?
You talking about on 18th?
Yeah. No, I'm talking. Yeah. Was that the down at the spot we used to go? Oh, y'all used to rehearse down there and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Down with
That was Glass Hand. That was the
yeah, that,
studio.
okay, that was okay, and then okay, and what was who was that one the other the producer that was in there the cat from New York that was always doing the hip hop. You remember? I can't remember his name. Dark skinned kind of tall brother from New York. The producer. He did hip hop. Uh, um,
You're not
I
talking
can't
about
remember his
Reggie.
name.
I
Reggie.
mean,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Reggie's from that cat's from Richmond, man. And
Is he? Oh
Reggie
wow.
Booker, that's Wickham Court. That
Oh,
boy,
okay.
yeah,
Never
you
mind.
talking about
That
representing.
explains
Yeah,
that. Never mind.
and
That
look,
explains that.
I'm glad you brought that up, man, because Reggie was one of those influential people in my
Yeah,
life
yeah. I
too.
can see
That's a
that.
hard
Yeah,
brother. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
hey,
yeah,
hey, I learned, that's when I learned really how to smack those beats hard, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
probably
yeah,
sold the
yeah.
most hip hop beats when we got together because I learned a lot from
Yeah.
him too, man.
Yeah,
So
man. Y'all used to be killing that with that MP boy, man, back in
yeah,
that
man, that's old
man.
school. The
Woof.
MPC 2000
Yeah, man. Y'all
XL,
used to
boy.
be killing it, man.
Yeah.
Now, you said something, Brian. Is that the same Brian that used to come around sometime and play with y'all? They used to
No,
read the
that
books
man,
and
that
stuff.
was
Is that
that man. If you talking about now Brian. if you talking about, there was a Brian Metz too that played bass
Oh,
for
okay,
this other
okay.
band that used to the Vocal Boy that used to play with us a lot.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
he was a
yeah, yeah,
dangerous cat too, man.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
BK
yeah.
is Brian
He
Knight,
used to be on
man.
the books. Remember, he used to be on the books. He used to read the
Yeah,
books.
yeah, and
I used to be
yeah, but
like, man.
BK used to play with the Ernie's.
Okay. Oh,
He
that
played
cat.
with the Ernie's
Okay.
for a while, yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He
but
was he was sick on that bass too, man.
yeah, yeah, the dudes was yeah, he was nasty, nasty on
All
that
right.
bass, man. Yeah, no doubt
Man,
about
oh man. Like I said, this is another beautiful
it.
conversation. Polka Dot Rabbit podcast, and actually, the melanated music, we're going to start doing this more frequently. You know what I'm saying? And, so you're going to see this more often, and more, like I told y'all before, more diverse subjects, more diverse people going in 2023, you know what I'm saying? And getting a lot
Mhm.
of pertinent, necessary information out for the people on all levels. So,
Yeah, yeah, man. No, this is a beautiful form, man. I'm like I said, I'm so proud of you, man. And this is awesome. I love what you're doing, and keep it up, brother.
all right. Well, that's it for me. If y'all haven't already, please go to polkadot.podcast.com and check out my book, Bicultural Living and Leaving the World of Illusions. I'm um I'm actually working on. I talked to my publisher today, and we working on number two, and I got a couple more down the line, but I'm gonna work on focus on number two coming out soon, sooner than later. Um, so that's really it on my end. I hope everybody has a great time. Had a great time tonight. And Cheese, thank you again. And we'll be talking
Thank
soon.
you so much,
Until,
man. It's
yeah,
awesome.
man.
All right, all right.
Until
I had
that,
a
we
blast.
out. Peace and love.
Okay, thank you, brother. All right, peace, everybody.